Alright, and I'm back. I'm doing a solo cast this time, as unfortunately Stav had to leave. Just to go to sleep, which is fair, because it's late over there in Europe, and he's got school in the morning. Let them kids deal with their crap, it's fine. Continue on casting here. And this is the Gold Division round of 16, Cycle 6. We've got Dishonored on the Legion side taking on Solaire Club, so at least one team that you should be well aware of in Solaire Club. One of the better Gold Division teams right now. And actually, Dishonored, not a terrible team themselves. We've seen them a bit before, and they've shown us some good stuff. They did have some named players, their well-known players on their roster before, have since apparently lost them. I've seen D. Dexter, I think, in Chaos Master play before. Maybe Zane. There's Q Zane and there's Zane. I don't know if that's the same person. But I hope it's not, because I think Q Zane played for somebody else this RMR. I think he plays for RMR, Ride My Rocket. So hopefully that wasn't him, but regardless, excited to see what Dishonored can do up against perhaps the favorites in Solaire Club. First two bans, I had to clear stuff, but first two bans were Kraken and Tempest from the Legion side. HoN taking out the Swiftblade and Cthulhu Foot combo, so no huge surprises by either side. Tempest not a super common early ban, but definitely worth it. And that will lead into Parasite Rhapsody and Prisoner 945, the Legion team, Magnus Glacius, and Silhouette for the Hellborn side. And nothing too crazy about any of those picks. Second pick, Rhapsody, perhaps a little bit odd. She has been declining in success in the last several cycles in gold, or in diamond, but still a very viable hero in my opinion, and a strong support. And of course, gold is not diamond, so perhaps teams in this division a little bit less equipped to deal with Rhapsody's power. And Glacius actually a rising support at this point, I would say. Going up a little bit in terms of his viability and his, I suppose, respect on the scene. Teams liking Glacius a little bit more than they used to, and you can certainly see why. He is a powerful hero with several strong abilities, so that covers the supports. But Silhouette going to be in the hands of Canadorf, who plays a very, very strong Silhouette, and I'm excited to see what he can do. I've seen him play that hero a number of times and have been consistently impressed by it, so not bad. And Hellborn notably do not have a jungler, so we'll see if they go for something like that. Noob is their typical jungle player, and the Doctor Repulsor is on the board. He plays a lot of jungle Doctor, so wouldn't be out of the question to see him pick up that hero and run it in the woods. Second stage bans are Legionnaire, Torturer, and Madman for the Legion side, as they remove one jungle option, a support option, and a suicide option. So hitting a couple of different possibilities with those three bans. Hellborn mostly focusing on the carry role, as they remove Puppet Master Clanks and the Dark Lady. Of course, they already have Silhouette, and presuming that Dishonored is not going to run either Prisoner or Parasite in the one role, that would be very strange. But it will be a fourth pick for Ravener for the Legion team, and that's very possibly going to be their short lane hero. It is going to be their short lane hero because it's not going to be a Suicide Prisoner or Ravener, but I don't like that. I never really have. I feel like Ravener's not strong enough on the one position to justify putting him in the short lane. He's an okay initiator type in the mid, and he's got some decent late game potential as well thanks to his scaling. But I feel like, low cooldown, consistently active, multiple cycle hero. That's not really a hero that you think, I'm going to sit back and farm the entire game. So if you get really active really early and you're trying to take a mid-game victory, Ravener can be a nice hero for your team, but I feel like there are other short lane carries that provide a little bit more in the late game that can do a similar thing. Dr. Repulsor, definitely one of those heroes. Possibly Oogie, depends on how you view him. I think SolC there has some underrated mid-game carry potential. Corrupted Disciple can do some good stuff for you. Hey, with farm, anybody, but there's a fair number of heroes that are, I think, decent enough in the mid-game to be able to fill that sort of role without having to put Ravener on it, but they're feeling like Ravener is going to be their best option here, and Pharaoh is going to be the fourth pick for a Hellborn side, so I wouldn't be surprised actually if that's going to be a mid-Pharaoh and a Suicide Magnus. Normally one would not think that would be the combination with those two heroes. Typically Pharaoh seen more as a Suicide, Magnus seen more as a mid-hero, but Army of Mums, I don't know if he plays Pharaoh, and my suspicion is that he doesn't. I know he does play Magnus, and no huge surprise, it's going to be the last pick Dr. Repulsor for the Hellborn team, so Noob will be playing that in the woods, and it is going to be Army of Mums on the Pharaoh. So that's a little bit interesting to me, actually. I've seen him play Magnus before, and he's done quite well with it, so I would have perhaps slightly preferred to see him on the Magnus role, but feeling confident that his Pharaoh will be up to snuff in that suicide lane, so probably looking at a Hellborn team of Glacius and Silhouette in the short lane, Magnus in the Soul mid, and Pharaoh in the suicide as Jungle Doctor goes through. Last pick of the Legion team was the Bubbles. Excuse me, was Hellborn last pick. It doesn't make any sense. And they're probably looking at a short lane of Solo Ravener, Suicide Bubbles, Mid, Prisoner, and Rhapsody, is my guess. A little bit less transparent on their lane. Hellborn could also, of course, put the Glacius in the middle if they feel like Magnus is not going to be able to survive by himself in that situation. And up against a Prisoner, actually, Magnus could have a lot of problems, so wouldn't surprise me at all to see Glacius head mid, but my suspicion is it'll be a top Glacius, at least for the time, at least for a short period of time, to make sure that Cannon Orph on that Silhouette gets off to a good start, and it seems that Stand March is headed up there to fulfill that expectation. It'll also allow them to run a pseudo tri-lane with Dr. Repulsor. Noobic Noob not really known for ganking too much. He does tend to farm more than really be active in the lane, which is fine, because he does tend to farm pretty well, so not the worst thing. But interested to see if, with this slightly more aggressive lineup in this long lane, they choose to go for something a little more active. And we see Bubbles coming up here with both Prisoner and Ravener, as well as Pierce actually, and Rhapsody. So the entire 5-man of Dishonored gonna look to drop a ward, perhaps to pull, or to guard the pull, and prevent any sort of shenanigans from the Hellborn team. Pauses coming through all the play. Yeah. So obviously we do have auto skip pause on. This is a replay cast, which means that it can just jump straight through these pauses, which seems very good because it's very possible those were lengthy pauses, I think. And it's actually looking like we're going to see an aggressive dual lane here. Parasite perhaps going to the Hellborn Woods with Ravener in the bot and Bubbles mid going up against the Magnus. And I actually think that lets the Hellborn side off the hook a little bit, to be honest. Magnus against Prisoner is an absolutely awful lane for Magnus. The Shackle stops both his Lava Surge and it reveals him during the Steam Bath, so it essentially makes Prisoner extremely hard counter to Magnus. And I would prefer to see him going up against the Magnus where he can take advantage of that ability. Now, I believe Shackle will also stop the Tree Grapple from Silhouette, and the only issue with that is essentially that the Hellborn have the short lane advantage here. They also have a Glacius around, plus the strong laning presence of Silhouette to deal with the Prisoner and the Rhapsody, so I don't think that this is necessarily going to go all that well for the Legion team. I do generally like long lane, dual lanes. It's not something that is done enough in my opinion, but in this particular situation I think I would prefer to see the Suicide Bubbles. They will get the hook actually onto Glacius. Staccatos are there as well, and Glacius is probably going to die here. Last time attack from Prisoner is going to get the kill, so very nice hook there from Chiprel. And that's what I'm going to call him. I don't really feel like trying to pronounce those symbols, but well played from Chiprel. Excellent hook onto Stand March on the Glacius, and he will take the first set of the game. And that's the kind of start that can help you win a long lane dual lane. Meantime, Rhapsody taking some harass from Silhouette, but Cannon Orph going to have a little bit of an issue here in this lane if Prisoner's going to be able to land hooks like that, and obviously you can see him already getting backed off the creep wave, and his Prisoner's just like, screw it, I'm going to do whatever I want. But this isn't the only lane in the game, so let's talk mid a little bit. Bubbles going up against the Magnus, and no surprise, Bubbles already doing a little bit better. Obviously the range advantage is helpful, and Magnus's laning ability in Volcanic Touch not super helpful against ranged heroes because they're not close enough to take the extra damage from it. He in fact has leveled up Volcanic Touch, but has not turned it on. So feeling like, yeah, there's no real reason for me to, or I want it to farm, but there's no reason for me to actually use it. Top lane Stand March dying again. Let's go back and watch that as, once again, a very, very nice hook from Prisoner. Shackle goes through as well, and there's no way for Glacius to get out of that, obviously. You already saw him die, so huge deal, but well played. And this top dual lane is actually going quite well, and much better than I would have anticipated for the team of xDis. They're also winning mid, 310 GPM on Bubbles compared to 240 on 250 even on Magnus. So Magnus picking up a little bit here the last couple of CS, but Bubbles still doing a little bit better. And Bubbles also out-experiencing this Magnus, which is going to be extremely crucial for both of these heroes, as obviously very level dependent in general. Magnus going for Steam Bath instead of level 2 in Volcanic Touch. I actually think Steam Bath probably would have been a better decision, especially since he's not using the Volcanic Touch at level 2, but oh well, he's got both of them now, so it's fine. Bottom lane, meanwhile, is Pharaoh going up against the solo short lane Ravener, and currently Army of Bombs at 160 GPM. And see Glacius down here, figuring he keeps getting hooked on that top lane, might as well remove stuff. And what am I even talking about? He might as well leave the lane, remove himself from that lane is sort of where I was going with that. But Noob actually not doing very well. They will put the mummy walls down here, and Ravener getting ball lightning onto Glacius. That will allow him to get out. So despite the use of the freeze there, actually the Hellfire is taking him down pretty effectively, but Noob unable to do too much. They still do end up getting the kill, as the Hellfire a little bit too powerful for a Ravener right there. Hellfire currently level 2, as that is what Pharah is choosing to max, which is the right call. Hellfire early on can be an extremely powerful spell, especially in a 1v1 situation where you only have one person to absorb the ticks, assuming there aren't any creeps around. And Noob perhaps a little bit out of his comfort zone, as he doesn't usually go with the aggressive Juggle Doctor, only at 170 GPM and really not doing all that well. This isn't really what you want out of a jungler. The fact that he's not going to have a significant impact on the lanes means that he needs to farm better than this in order to justify picking him up over a second support, because this typically means I'm going to have at least one lane do worse than it would have if I had second support. And the advantage you get is normally I'm going to have a better farmer in that role than I would having a second support. But right now, they're basically getting the worst of both worlds. They're not getting any presence in the lane, and Noob's not getting farmed. So, bit iffy right here. Only level 3 on that Doctor, and obviously Doctor a very level-dependent hero as well, so he's going to be needing to step some stuff up if they want Solaire Club to get back in this game. And they're not out of this game by any means, but it's not even 5 minutes in yet. They're already pretty far down, actually, 1,200 gold and 800 experience. And they will use the Lava Surge on middle on Bubbles, as he's already got the Shell Surf down. Kelpfield goes onto 2. I don't think they really kill this Bubble. They're going to turn this, actually, as Glacius going to fall to the Hasted Rhapsody. All of a sudden, Parasite is here. 2-man Lava Surge. Bubbles is going to die. No, excellent take cover, and that's going to stop it. He gets the Shell Surf off, and that hits the Silhouette. They do eventually kill the Bubbles, of course, but Rhapsody might be overstaying her weapon. Oh, nope, she got the Staccatos, and she will take Silhouette down. She actually gets the kill before Silhouette does, which means that she gets the experience for it as well. So, very good engagement there from xDis, and this is sort of what I was talking about with this team. Is they're not really all that well known, especially after losing a couple of players, but some solid play early on. And Solaire Club, a team that's been getting better in the last several cycles in the early laning phase right now, not looking that great. They are down reasonably substantially in both gold and experience, 2k for each, and less than 6 minutes in. Glacius in particular has had a pretty suffer time, 0-3 and 2. And Cannondorf even being forced out of that top lane at 230 GPM, so things in general not looking great for Solaire Club. And actually bottom lane, we managed to see a kill onto Ravener, can walk that back up as Noob comes in with the opposite charges. Pretty easy kill. Hellfire doing a lot of damage as well. Wrath of Pharaoh was used to initiate, I presume. So, Army of Mums actually the top farmer on this Hellborn team, which is a position that he's not used to being in. But having quite a nice game, and further solidifying my opinion that he should not play Kraken anymore. Because he's just not that good at Kraken. I've seen him play well on Magnus, I've seen him play pretty well on Bubbles, I've seen him now play pretty well on Prisoner, as a nice comes through onto Cannondorf. He's looking for the tree grapple, but can't find it because of that shackle. And that's a pretty easy kill. Prisoner ultimate used, probably not even necessary. As middle lane, they're trying to collapse into those Bubbles. They get the Shell Surf, and they're not the Shell Surf. The Lava Surge down. He gets the Shell Surf off, but it's way too late. There goes the Staccatos. On top of the Dance Floor, actually, and Dr. Pulsar is going to be in a lot of trouble here, I think. Probably should have used more Staccatos on the Dance Floor to get a little more damage. But Rhapsody with one lot attack finishes him off. Magnus here looking for the counter, as Rhapsody picks the health pot, and she should be just fine. Really nothing that Chisman can do in this situation. Dance Floor goes down as well, and they're perhaps looking to counter this onto Magnus. Glacius is kind of hanging around, and I don't think they'll be able to kill Mag by any means, but Parasite coming in with a couple of illusions, trying to do something. Staccatos are there onto Magnus, but again, this isn't the greatest initiation really for Legion side. Actually, Face Hug is off, and that's going to be able to kill Jisman, as the silence prevents him from lava surging away. So not bad. Now Stanmarsh in a lot of trouble. Illusions are there, and the Shell Surf actually finishes him off, so Dishonored looking very, very good in the early going here. 9-5 hero kill advantage, and got 417 GPM on the Prisoner. Solid farm on the Parasite as well as 250 plus on both, or 250 or so on all 3 of the remaining Legion heroes. This Rhapsody in particular, 3-1 and 5, showing how powerful this hero still is. And top lane, Hook once again, or maybe that was, yeah, that was Hook. tree grapple was used on a side tree. So prisoner initiating, realizing pretty quickly he does not have the damage to finish off the silhouette, doesn't want to take a crap ton in return, and so he backs off. But things going quite well here for Dishonored, and you know, again, we're relatively early into this game, but Solaire Club pretty far on the back foot, and I would presume not something they would expect after, like I said, doing consistently better in most cycles. And Prisoner not going to be able to hit the hook, as Rhapsody is going to be okay as they counter with the Shackle. Obviously, no longer able to run away is the Dr. Repulsor, and that's a kill. Rhapsody trying to survive as she hides in the woods. That's not going to happen. Off the side here, they will catch the Prisoner as well, and they're probably going to be able to kill out of this. Glacius gets the freeze on top of auto attack. Kelpfield not really doing all that much from Bubbles, so good turn from Solaire Club. They eventually lose Doctor, but they get 2 kills out of it, and most importantly, shutting down that strong early Prisoner. So, not bad stuff at all. Looks like Newbie can pick up the Amulet Exile here, and he may be going for Ring of Sorcery. Wouldn't be surprised at all if that is the choice. That is his typical build. Ring of Sorcery into Icon. I mean, not D&D. Anyway, bottom lane, they're going to try to jump on top of the Ravener, gets the ball lightning counter onto the Pharaoh, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Hellfire is down, and he's going to be easily walked down. Skeleton King coming through from Parasite, but nothing he can really do to counter this either. No other support from the Legion side, as just another Magnus is kind of hanging around in Legion Woods. So, Hellborn sort of feeling like they want to go for this Parasite kill as well, but eventually Magnus does back off and head to middle lane. And 10 to 8 hero club advantage here for Dishonored. Still a pretty decent golden experience lead for them, and looking solid in the early going. Now, the thing they do have to be concerned about is they don't have Silhouette, they don't have Dr. Repulsor. When it comes to the late game, Solaire Club is absolutely going to take it. So, this early laning phase and post-laning phase advantage, mid-game advantage, needs to be there for them to win, and it needs to be pressed. So, now that they're a little bit up, they need to turn that into being more up, and they need to turn that into being too far up. Whether or not they can do that, I think, is a bit of a question. But they're sure as hell trying. And middle lane, some exchange going on. Magma's gonna put the Lava Surge through, and the Eruption as well, as here comes Dr. Repulsor. Ravener, no ball lightning available, so he cannot cancel that. And pretty easy kill onto Chaos Master, who's now 0-4-0. So this Ravener really having a bit of a suffer time, and considering he was their short lane option, not what you'd like to see out of who is presumably your one Raw hero. Top lane, gonna connect onto Magmus. They also get the Shackle and the ultimate from Prisoner, as Magmus can even hold back in. Yes, he will. Freeze not enough to save him. Rhapsody's gonna take the counter death, and actually Prisoner could be in some trouble, as here comes the Pharaoh and the Dr. Repulsor. He's gonna die, so they end up getting a kill on Magmus, but they pay for it with 2 more valuable heroes. Well, Rhapsody's not more valuable, but the fact that it's a double kill is more valuable. Especially Kendorf getting those kills. 380 GPM now for the Silhouette, and he has taken over the top farm in the game. And that's pretty crucial. Meanwhile, up here in the middle lane, Nubik is going to be locked down a little bit. Ball lightning is there. Silence comes through from Bubbles, and the Shell Circle will finish him off along with Kelpfield. Here comes Pharaoh and Glacius. Kelpfield did not hit on Pharaoh, and they're looking for a little bit of a counter, but they won't find it. One of the walls from Pharaoh did not go through, even though Shell Circle was still down for a little while. So probably could have gone for a kill there, but choosing to play it a little bit more safe. And figuring they'll cut their losses, and Nubik noob. Not worth getting excessively aggressive. Top lane, Deny goes through, so it sort of wants to go into this Prisoner, but can't really do so. And Hook goes through, actually connects onto her. And she gets the Shackle as well, but she really doesn't care all that much. Alright, he gets shielded, and it's fine. presumably using it to scout, because they don't have a ward up here. And actually going to jump onto the bubbles here. Rhapsody looking for an ultimate, perhaps. Going to need to use it. Yep, there it is. Trying to get the bubbles out of here, and that will be successful. Rhapsody's going to fall in the meantime. But here's Parasite looking for the jump. Nice stun from Magnus, so that's going to stop the facehug. He eventually does get the leech onto Glacius in the background, who also gets the ball lightning. That's going to be the only kill that Legion gets so far. They finish up Hendor from the Silhouette, actually, and Nuka on Doctor. They pull Pharaoh back in. Prisoner going to die here, but I think Pharaoh might as well. No! The Mummy Wall's doing a lot, and it's going to prevent Ravener from doing anything, and he's going to be, in fact, the only survivor from the Legion side, as 2 heroes from Hellborn are still chasing him down. Lobsters from Magnus, a couple more auto attacks will complete the genocide here if they can get it. And yeah, Army of Mums basically just giving that kill to Magnus. So, indeed, collect your trophies, as the Hellborn managed to pick up a genocide here, which is pretty surprising considering how that started. Good jump from them, but it looked like there was some pretty serious turn potential there from Dishonored, and they were not quite able to finish off the tankiness of Pharaoh and Magnus. Well played to Solaire Club, and that's more along the lines of what we're used to seeing from them. Strong teamfight engagements, excellent ability to pick heroes off as well, and just a little bit better play than what they show in the laning phase. Wouldn't be surprised if that continues as the game progresses. In middle lane, we have the new portal key on Prisoner, as he's looking to perhaps gank somebody with it, and it's available from Parasite as well. So the follow-up definitely good. And now that Prisoner portal key should be scouted out, as they have a word of sight spotting him. So if they check his inventory, they will see that he does have a portal key now. That's something to watch out for as a result. Parasite starts to look for something. They put the shackle onto Glacius, but he dodges the hook. So not the greatest thing. They will still kill Stand March here, and yep, they definitely will. Rhapsody, though, going to get picked off in the background. Bubbles coming in with the kill field onto 2. Mummy Walls go down, as well as Dance Score. The 2-man Lavaster is going to finish Rhapsody. Here goes Bubbles as well. Ultimate from Prisoner is going to connect onto 2, in fact, as Parasite doing a lot with that new puzzle box. They do manage to get the after the Pharaoh, though, as the Magnus and Pharaoh a little bit too tanky. They managed to go with the Mauler, but Prisoner with the hook back onto a couple. Nice ultimate switch from Kendor. That manages to kill the Parasites, and now Prisoner going to be able to teleport away. So Ravener not there for that fight, but 3 heroes dead on the Legion side, and only the Doctor and the Glacius on the Hellborn team. So another good engagement for Solaire Club. And so they're taking a 19-17 hero kill advantage, and they've started to swing the golden experience in their favor as well. 12K gold and 4K experience up. Not bad. Looks like Ravener going to continue to try to farm the woods, but still just 253 GPM. And in the middle lane, more stuff going down as Magnus is going to fall. Nuke could possibly be in some trouble. No. Could be fine. So, as I was saying, Ravener not the best jungle farmer, so him just kind of being around there and farming the woods isn't really the most efficient thing for him to do. He is going to be able to try to get a kill on the Pharaoh. The Hellfire really is stopping a lot of this, though. He's got the electrical feedback, and he's really trying to get this damn kill, but he can't. That Hellfire just doing a ridiculous amount of work. And had the ball lightning available towards the end of that, but apparently just getting off cooldown at the wrong time. Didn't want to dive the tower. He was pretty low at the end of that as a result of all that Hellfire chasing. So perhaps if he just stayed out of the Hellfire range for a little while, given himself enough health to dive the tower and get the ball lightning onto Pharaoh, which was still in pretty short range ball lightning, he would have been just fine. But unfortunate, unable to get the kill on Army of Mums, who's 8-0-3, 350 GPM. So give this guy heroes that aren't Kraken, please. He's not a bad player. But the Kraken isn't working. Anyway, Solak going to jump in here. Actually, nice take cover from Bubbles. That's going to stop the stun. Perhaps he does get spotted out by the jump from, or the rocket from Pharaoh. And Infest not going to go through. Glacius in a lot of trouble as the Shell Surf did some stuff. Had to power supply there to keep himself alive. And Bubbles not choosing to force the Shell Surf. Did have Kelpfield and Song to see available, which both would have finished off the Glacius, but could potentially have put himself in a bad position as a result. And they're trying to de-push this middle lane, as they don't want to lose their tower. Understandable. really unable to do anything in this game, as he does not have a portal key. He's got a Blood Chalice, Steam Boots, Hatchet, Shield, and Teleport. That's really not very much at all. You're only seeing on 1,300 gold, so presumably going for the portal key at some point. Noob is not doing instant build, actually. He's going to try to turn this onto Prisoner, but he's going to have some pretty serious support from the rest of the Legion side. But there's also support from the Hellborn as they push away the Rhapsody. That's going to prevent her ultimate from doing anything. Right off the bat, Prisoner's dead. There goes Ravener as well. Rhapsody going to get chased down. She's going to be in a lot of trouble. Kelpfield actually goes on to 3. That's a pretty solid Kelpfield from Bubbles there as Parasite Infest, the Puzzle Box minion. Just been on the Magma Center trying to run away. So is Army of Mums on the Pharaoh. And they might all be okay. Leech goes through onto Pharaoh, but a nice Mummy Wall's there. Going to be denied. Not going to be enough. Blast auto attack from Zane on the Bubbles. Going to be able to get the kill. Army of Mums champion to a stop. But then here comes Silhouette as the team pick off Chaos Master on the Ravener, who actually fought back and came back into the game. But Silhouette's still dead. Nice 3-man Lava Surge comes through. They kill the Rhapsody. Noob back into the fight as well as he bought out. And that'll be the cleanup as they managed to pick up a Genocide on the Hellborn team once again. So, very, very good fight there from Hellborn. They get a buyback on Ravener. They also use one on Dr. Repulsor, but I would say that goes in favor of Hellborn as well, as Noob is not the #1 role in this game. So he's getting up there in terms of GPM, but his buybacks are less valuable than those of Candor, and Ravener's buybacks are very valuable, presumably because he is the #1 hero. And Noob, speaking of him, he's sort of just kind of auto-attacking here, and he's going to try to run away now, but that might or might not work. Actually, there's a lot of creep support, and all of a sudden Prisoner needs to be careful. Just one of the Magmas has shown back up, and there's a Lava Surge to finish him off, so not a bad play at all, as the new Magmas Portal Key is doing a lot of work in these fights. And Noob holding his ground. Pays off for him. So, not bad stuff at all. Anyway, middle lane, I see a couple of heroes grouped up, as I really want this Legion Tier 1 tower in middle lane, and obviously you can see why. Not only tower gold, but in terms of map control, it gives you a lot. And if you're the Legion team, being able to port into that tower is pretty huge. You can save people. Rhapsody off to the side, a little bit too far away from her teammates, and the jump potential of the Hellborn team is pretty substantial. So when you're Rhapsody and you got a Doctor and a Magnus Portal Key up against you, need to be a little bit closer to your team, because the potential for you getting picked off and killed is obviously very high, as we just saw. Still doing quite well at 5, 7, and 10. Most assists on her team. And actually on the side, they will catch Bubbles as well. Wrath of Pharaoh coming through. And Noob on an Ultimate Warrior streak. They finally do get that mid Tier 1 tower. Middle is pressured pretty heavily. And CC vote being called by Dishonored, which a little iffy.
A valiant effort, warrior.
Well, apparently there's some issue. Either way, that's gonna be the end of the game. And okay, I felt like Dishonored perhaps could have stuck in that a little bit longer than they did, but feeling like they didn't want to anymore. They were down reasonably substantially, and I don't know. I will also mention that, sorry, sorry, I was trying Twitch chat really quickly, but okay, so whatever admin problems they did have, this is game 1 of the series. I will not be going into Game 2 right now, or ever, because there is no Game 2. They, in fact, forfeited Game 2, and therefore Solaire Club moved on to the round of 8, and Dishonored not only were knocked down to loser bracket round 1, but they actually get knocked down to silver. As a result of the round 1 forfeit, they just get pushed back all the way to silver. So apparently there was some sort of an issue with the admins or something. I don't know what happens. Anyway, either way, Dishonored taking a loss here, taking a loss in the series, and that's kind of too bad. Their laning phase was very good, and I felt like perhaps the transition wasn't as great. Maybe the Ravener really a problem. I mean, I said it in the drafting phase, I said it in the beginning of the game, I just don't like that hero in that role, and I think he proved more or less what exactly can go wrong when you do that. So, yeah, I don't know. anyway, that'll be wrapping up the cast for today. So, congrats to the Solaire Club, moving on to the round of 8s, and too bad for Dishonored. I would have liked to have seen some better stuff out of them, but that'll do it for this series.